Alright, the second step of making the mallet head would be, this is a toy for small children. These really rough edges we don't want. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this fillet, which you'll notice makes this nice rounded edge. So when you click on it, you'll be able to select the edges. What happens is it rounds off those edges. Make sure you click the check mark. Now our mallet head is much better and used for the kids. Won't be as sharp. Alright. Once that's done, we are going to create a hole in the side of this. Now you can't just make a new sketch on a cylinder. Okay? It has to be a flat surface. So the way we get around that is we are going to make a work plane. So work planes are up here. We're going to click on plane. Okay, I don't need to click on the drop down, just right here at the top. Then I'm going to come over here to the origin. Now the YZ plane is at the end of the mallet. XZ is right there. XY is right there through the middle. So it doesn't really matter which one of these two I pick, just not this one. Then I'm going to select the side of the cylinder. What that did now is gives me a work plane. Now I can right click, make a new sketch, and then I click on this plane. Now all of a sudden I have a plane that I can work on. I'm going to put the point somewhere close to the center because our mallet's going to be somewhat centered. All you have to do is pick a point. No dimensioning needed. I'm just going to put it right about there. It looks close to center. It may be a little to the right. Somewhere close to the center. So now I've got a point. So as simple as that, I made a plane, select the XY, I selected the side of the cylinder, I right clicked, made a new sketch, and selected this plane, made a point. Now all I have to do, select hole, and it's already going to know that that point is where I want the hole. Now here's where I've got to decide how big I want the hole to be. So how deep do I want it to be? 1 inch is probably max, depending on how big you made this. If you made it 1.5 inch, then 1 inch will be fine. I'm going to go 0.75 just because I don't think it needs to be down quite that far for a little toy handle for a hammer. And then how big I want it to be around. I probably want the handle to be around 1 inch, but I don't know, that may be a little big. So I'm going to go and I can backspace and I can make this 0.75. That's probably about right. So I'll say OK. So now I've got this hole. Okay, it's even pointed at the end so that my mallet will fit in there easier. Now to get rid of that work plane so you don't see it, again go over here to work plane, you'll right click and see how visibility is checked. We're going to turn visibility off. Alright, last thing for the mallet head. The mallet could go in here and we could just glue it in, but we're going to make it a little fancier and we're going to make this a threaded hole. So we're going to click on thread up here. I'm going to click on the side. The side is where I want the threads to be, not at the bottom. I want the threads to be on the side. Now over here is where I can choose the different types of threads. I can choose how big the thread is, what designation, what class. You don't need to worry about any of this. Just the fact that it's located there. The specification will automatically come up 0.75 3/4 when we do it on the handle as well. So that'll be fine. We'll just leave it there, apply it. Now our mallet head is complete, threaded, ready for the handle, which is the next step. Okay. The last things you can do, I did some fun things with my handle. You can come back in, you can do some shelling. Again, you don't have to, but if you shell this, what happens is now it's hollow on the inside. You can see it through that side. If I want to shell it on the other side, I can do that too. Now, you might see an issue if I did that, which actually I'd have to do back here. Now if I shell that, there's an issue. Now it's not too much of a hammer. It'd be tough to make those pegs go in with two big openings. So I'm going to go back to only having one side shelled. So I'm going to delete this, reshell it, I'm going to shell it on the end. That's not going to be my best hammering side. And there we go. Now I've got it shelled out to where it's a little less weight. And we're done.